Salibonani, greetings and welcome to the Girls Table podcast. I am your host, Bekezela Mguni. So in our podcast today, we want to talk about the role of traditional leaders in conflict resolution. I am with Chief Dakamela Oyinduna Enkai Dakamela to understand the role of traditional leaders in conflict resolution. Ngiyalamukela Chief Dakamela. Umbuzo wami wokuqala ukuthi what is the significance of traditional leaders in peace building and conflict resolution?
Yes, the first question that I'm then responding to about the significance of traditional leaders in peace building and conflict resolution, it's important to note that traditional leaders have been and always have been, if we look at the historic background, they have always been peace builders in one way or another. So this the historic significance of peace building, and also traditional leaders are the highest authority in our communities, and also they serve as mediators, they serve as arbitrators, they serve as judges in trying to resolve conflicts. So in a sense, if we look at Afrobarometer, said people have, the statistics from the Afrobarometer, it says people have confidence in traditional leaders. At times it's contrary, because some of the chiefs have lost confidence. We might have lost confidence because of the things that we do, which is not defines the customary or the traditional leadership, which has maybe reduced the significance. Because when we are speaking of peace building, when we are speaking of conflict resolution, you can only conflict resolve, you can only peace build if people have enormous respect of you, if people have confidence in you. That's where it's easy for you to conflict resolve or to peace build. So because of the confidence that people had, or the confidence that people continue to have in traditional leadership, and then that's where the significant part comes in, where they can also peace build and conflict resolve as a result of the confidence that people have in the traditional leadership, as a result of the respect that people have for the traditional leadership. So I think that has been the significance. There are historic significance, the respect and confidence that people have in traditional leadership, and also the wisdom that they possess, because they are using our traditional ways of resolving conflicts. And even though there are those challenges where we have the Roman Dutch clashing with the traditional leadership or the customary law, where also the constitution supersedes the customary law because it is more Roman Dutch, and also it is the supreme law of the country, whereas we have the customary law, which is led by the traditional leaders, where they become the peace builders and the conflict resolvers. But we cannot resolve the conflict between the customary law and the Roman Dutch.
Thank you so much, Chief. Mhlawumbe ungasichazela kabanzi ukuthi what role do traditional leaders play in maintaining cultural heritage and promoting social cohesion?
And as we continue to engage, and also the question that arises of what role do traditional leaders play in maintaining cultural heritage and promoting social cohesion, At times there is what we there's what ought to happen, there is what was happening, and there is what is happening. And I would also want to say, because traditional leaders are cultural custodians. They are the custodians of our heritage, and the culture embodies what could be then extended to social cohesion, because culture encompasses everyone uh, from our rural areas where chiefs have jurisdiction are coming in under the guise of traditional leadership, because everyone is cultural where they are coming from traditionally and their background. So when we are looking at what we say the cultural heritage and the social cohesion, we are then saying because of our culture, which is the umbrella of our society. So under an umbrella, people exist in different religions, people exist in different beliefs, people exist in different totems and surnames, people exist in different languages. If we look at Gwanda, we have people who speak Soto, Ndebele, and the likes. Look at Cholocho and Plumtree, people speak Ndebele and Kalanga. But then they've been under the traditional leadership where they exist, which fosters the social cohesion that we are speaking about. So the traditional leaders ought to be the umbrella of different people, and they should be bringing people together for an inclusive approach, for an inclusive existence. So, and also the role of traditional leaders in cultural heritage is also to advocate, is also to lobby, is also to defend our cultural heritage, is also to be the custodians of our sacred shrines, is also to be custodians of our language, is also to defend our language whenever is in threat. The role of traditional leaders is to also is also to instill confidence, is also to acknowledge that culture is dynamic, is also to then, as much as the culture is dynamic, is to then to make sure that we are not our culture is not is not eradicated because of the dynamism of the world, and also the Western cultures, the dilution from different cultures, which can be Western cultures and other cultures. But the traditional leaders are in the forefront in defending the culture, in maintaining social cohesion, where people coming from different political backgrounds, religious backgrounds, but the traditional leader should remain a pillar of hope, a pillar of strength, as an umbrella to the communities to maintain cultural heritage and social cohesion.
Siyabonga Chief Dakamela. Uchief ukhuluma ngokuthi as traditional leaders they ought to be umbrellas of different people, bayenze sure that they bring people together regardless of ukuthi bavela ngaphi, as long bengabantu abahlala labo. Njengoba ekhuluma ukuthi kulamaTonga, kulamasuthu, kulamandebele, kungabantu uchief ayabe bakhangele, so they have a duty to make sure ukuthi bayabahlanganisa labo bantu. Umbuzo wami omunye njalo kuyinduna yethu ukuthi how can traditional leaders address issues of gender equality and inclusivity in peace building?
Yeah, continuing Mguni on the our engagement, where we if how like as a question, like how can traditional leaders address issues of gender equality and inclusivity in peace building. I would want us I would want to say, there's a certain perception where we disalign traditional leaders from progress and objectivity. And also, when we are speaking of issues to do with gender equality, we alienate traditional leaders. But I would want us to then look at it this way, to say any institution, any organization which has to do with gender equality and inclusivity, the way they are addressing those things, like the proportion of men and women, and also making sure that women and men have equal opportunities in societies, and also what the constitution is prescribing, that women and men have equal opportunities socially, politically, economically, and culturally, and then otherwise. So those prescriptions that have been prescribed for any organization, and also how the other organizations are doing it, I think is the only, or not the only way. It can also be a way that is adopted by traditional leaders to address issues of gender equality and inclusivity in peace building. But also, it is important to know that traditional leaders, historically, if we look at the Zulus, the Ndebeles, because the Ndebeles also have a Zulu background as well, and also when we look at the Igbos, the Orubas, when we look at the traditional leadership and the cultures in Africa, we would then come across and realize that traditional leaders or culture, or our African cultures, or our African culture, we were practicing what we call egalitarian. We were under an egalitarian society which respect issues to do with gender equality. And when we have gender equality, we know that we have addressed peace, because the conflicts always arise in terms of gender oppression. But we would want to emphasize that in our societies, in our cultures, we were an egalitarian society. We were conscious of what women are and the importance of women, and the society was recognizing and conscious of the importance of men. So we existed in an egalitarian society where there was gender equality and equity at the same time. So how we can address, we can always tap back to the wisdom that we had. We can always tap back to the structures of the egalitarian societies that we have to address inclusivity in peace building, because women also have wisdom and they know how to nurture, and they are peaceful in nature at times, and also men. So we look at both their expertise and their capabilities to foster peace building in a gender equitable manner.
Thank you so much, Chief Dakamela, for making time ukuthi usifundise ukuthi kanti ama-traditional leaders adlala ndima bani ku-conflict resolution. I hope we learned a lot from this conversation, and siyabonga kakhulu ngoba ama-traditional leaders kungabantu esihlala labo every day, and they have a significant role in peace building and conflict resolution. From the Girls Table, siyabonga kakhulu. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Ku-X it's table_girls, ku-Facebook it's the Girls Table, ku-Instagram the.girlstable. Kanti ama-videos ethu ngawabona ku-YouTube, uye la ku-website yethu www.thegirlstable.org. Until next time, from me and the Girls Table, siyabonga kakhulu.